Hey guys, I went to see a new doctor today because they left this like door knockers in my apartment buildings. Everybody got one, I guess, just flyers or whatnot. And I went to see him because my doctor kind of pissed me off last time. You know what I mean? Trying to provoke me. He's like, about what happened to work? When are you going back to work? How about it's none of your business? Shut the hell up. You know? It was like, what kind of doctor asks these kind of questions? He seemed like you care. And he's the one who's the same guy asked me to do a bone density one. Who's working for the enemy. So that's why I'm changing him. Too bad. Honestly, I'm gonna be quite frank here. Honestly, I did like him. I still do like him, even though I'll find the whole thing is very sneaky, trying to get test, bone density and all of that, pretending like he has no clue what's going on. And then when he's talking to me in his office, I told him I saw him for almost 3 years, 2 years or 3 years, I can't remember. Anyhow, I told him something, where I used to work in Alberta and stuff. And he sat there, recited where I worked, and he remembered things I told him initially in an initial intake. And okay, when you are a doctor you're in a medical clinic, when you're seeing thousands and thousands of patients, you would not remember what that person did for a living, where they used to live and stuff. Okay. I know there is smart doctors, okay? There is smart doctors, okay? I come from a family, my mom's side, over 44 doctors. My brothers, my brother Dia, and Baha, these are doctors, different professions, right? But anyhow, 44 doctors from my mom's side. My dad's side is not many, and so I know some people could be smart. They could remember every patient's history, Why would you remember a patient where they used to live? It's not relevant. You understand? Medical history, maybe try to remember, so when you see a patient, even when you log into the patient's file, then you'll be able to you'll be able to remember, like, talk about what that person patient's problem is, or the health issue, or and stuff. So now in these days, you don't have to remember none of that, because you have a computer. Once you log in the file, then everything is just but he sat there, he made me think like he knows more than he's telling. You understand? Because I'll tell you why. Because he says he had this medical doctor who's coming from Saudi Arabia, and he's the senior at this, he's going to be here for a year or so. And he came in and he says, oh, I told you about Buddha and and I did. Why are you talking to me about me to other doctors? You're my doctor, not him. He's here for a year. So I would not remember him, and I would not want to remember him. You know what I'm saying? Because he's here temporarily. You understand? I'm not an asshole, guys. But it just doesn't make sense to me to cry my heart out to somebody that I'm not going to see after a year. Right? So I just find the whole thing is very bizarre. And to sit there and talk about me to this, temporary doctor on a work visa, here in Canada, So the whole thing is just very annoying. But anyhow, so he rubbed me the wrong way, and decided now I'm gonna replace him. Even though I've grown to like him, and we develop a relationship, working with your doctor you have to really trust and stuff. And then he just did that last time, and which is, I just mentioned what it was, for him to ask me very invasive questions. When you going back to work, it's none of your, that's what annoyed me the most, because I know he's working for the enemy. So do not overstep your boundaries as people. Things has nothing to do with, my brother, who's a professor as well. He told me, why would he ask you that? This is not just something I'm imagining. It's not a hallucination or something. It's like I imagined. He asked me that, which is, I just don't like invasive questions, especially because if we develop a relationship, working the relationship, because I'm a patient and you are the doctor. This line should not be crossed. Okay? These lines should not be crossed, and these lines should not be crossed. So you cannot ask your, patient things that is not pertaining to your profession. You can ask me about my diet. You can ask me about any food allergies, medication allergies. That is in line with his profession, right? But when you ask somebody something, it's not really none of your business, and he made it seem like I must go back to work. You know what I'm saying? It's like, did I come and ask for charity? Did I come to this office to see this doctor asking for charity? Did I say, I'm begging for money and I want you to pay my rent, I want you to pay my bills? Did I ask for any of that? So what made this doctor think he has the right to intrude, It's none of your, So anyhow, to make the story short, I just went to see another doctor. I'm just to get a feeling, because okay, something with me, I instantly know if I like a person or it's not gonna work out. Okay, so if I meet a person and I feel like we're getting along and stuff like that, and I would like that person, then I will stick with that person. So I went to see this doctor, and I'm not sure how I feel. He seemed a little dry, but anyhow, I don't have to like him to that extent, but I just want to make sure he's the right fit with me, you know what I mean? Everybody, we all have our likes, right? So I just don't feel, I don't feel it yet. So I may have to see somebody else. I have to maybe see somebody else to kind of just to see if I can find a doctor that I think I'm comfortable with. So that's what's going on, guys. All right. That's my, my pet peeve, that what made me annoyed with this doctor. We've been with him for a while. Is asking questions is none of his business. Okay? And I was gonna lose it with him. I was gonna tell him to shut the hell up. But hey, I'm just gonna go find somebody else who would not ask me personal questions. Just stick to the medical file and shut the hell up.